Hey, how you guys doing? My name's Hans, and in this video, we're going to be going over two types of yoga that are often slept on here in the West, meaning people don't really take them into consideration as much as they should. So here in the West, most people think of Hatha yoga when you say the word yoga. And they think of soccer moms going to the gym, doing hot yoga for their bodies to get a big booty. And that's not what yoga was developed for. Yoga was made over 5,000 years ago to discover the divine within, to reach enlightenment, basically. Everyone's already God, but they just don't realize it yet. And so in Hinduism, Sanatana Dharma, they've developed the science for discovering this for yourself. And that science is called yoga. Yoga means to yoke together, become one with, aka one with the divine. Now, what I was talking about, what we think of in the West, where girls go to the gym and stand on their head and stuff, that is a part of it. Maybe not what they're doing in yoga class here, but the yoga class they do over there with all these different postures is called Hatha yoga. And this isn't to just get a big booty, but it's to channel your life force energy, to allow it to flow through your astral body properly, all the way up your spine to reach states of enlightenment. But that's one of the most common paths people follow when they get into yoga, doing the breathing exercises, pranayama, the meditation, which is Raja yoga, or different diets, vegetarian diets, fasting off fruit, fasting, intermittent fasting, water fast, tantric sex. Tantra is a path of yoga as well, but it involves a lot of different rituals. It's not just tantric sex like we think of here in the West, but it's rituals, chanting mantras to produce these different vibrations with your voice box, to have these vibrations resonate throughout your consciousness and alter your state of consciousness to becoming more peaceful, compassionate, loving. And a lot of times they chant these mantras with certain deities in their mind to transcend their human state of suffering, to kind of become a reflection of that deity, because God is infinite and eternal. You can't really think of it with a thought. So to make it easy to conceptualize, people make different deities to represent different aspects of the infinite God. And that can help you with your practice. Or deities can also represent different aspects of your own mind. But in this video, I want to talk about two different types of yoga that people don't really consider quite as much here in the West, even though they're very popular in the East, which is karma yoga, basically selfless action, serving others, as well as Bhakti yoga, which is the love and devotion for God, which we kind of do at church, but I'm going to get into it a little bit more here. So karma yoga, selfless action, it's just serving the divine and others without expecting any type of reward. You might be thinking, like, I don't see how this is going to produce like a spiritual experience, which on its own, it probably won't, but it could. But the main purpose is to purify your own mind by doing these selfless actions without respecting a reward. The reward does come in a purification of your own mind to feel compassion and love for others. And you can think of the opposite of this as, let's say there's an infestation of bugs in your house and you're just going around smashing all these bugs because you got to get them out of your house. I mean, there's no other way around it. You don't want to kill them, but you have to. And by doing so, you start to kind of not even see them as a life anymore. You don't consider their feelings, their consciousness, their soul. And that's the opposite of karma yoga, because it dulls your mind to the divine inside these bugs, right? Or you can think of like factory farming, just these animals kept in horrible conditions. you're just seeing them as just purely meat, which there's nothing wrong with eating meat. Karma is just cause and effect. It doesn't mean like you get brownie points with God by doing good deeds. God doesn't see things in terms of good or bad. That's just a human perception. To God, everything is perfect. So karma is just cause and effect, but the effect of just killing things without proper consideration for the respect of their soul, it just numbs your mind to the beauty within these beings, whereas serving others does the opposite, where it can make you more sensitive to love instead of numbing you to the love, the respect for the soul in these creatures. Now let's talk about Bhakti Yoga, another very slept on practice here in the West, which is more the devotion or love to God. So for someone in the West, the way you can think of it is when you go to church and you do communion, where they give you wine or bread and say it's the blood of Christ or the body of Christ, and you eat it and you take that in and you accept that as God's sacrifice, pure love to nourish you. Communion, come union, become one with. Devotion to God, Bhakti Yoga is a big aspect of that, I would say, is keeping in mind that every time you breathe even is communion, that this air is love, God's love in disguise. The sun on your skin is God's love in disguise, warming you. Of course, the water you drink, the food you eat, obviously, but to constantly be aware of this love in disguise all around you, your five senses paint all these different forms and create this matrix within your mind. But the true essence of reality is that it's all God in disguise. And you need to accept that truth, that God is everywhere and everything and is love in disguise, and know that God is your best friend, or every breath you take is a romance between you and God. And through this practice, you know that nothing can hurt you. God's always got your back, and it purifies your mind. It makes you feel like you're invincible. You can do anything in life. And you feel like you become one with everything. It improves that sense of love inside of you. Now, I know you can hear what I'm saying and understand it, like academically, conceptually, but you don't really understand until you experience it for yourself on the inside. Same thing with, obviously enlightenment. You're God here right now, but you have to really feel it to understand, instead of just knowing that thought in your mind. There's other different types of yoga as well, like Jnana yoga, yoga of knowledge, which you, by watching this video, is part of that. Just learning different things along your spiritual path. There's so many different types. And for me personally, I would even consider using psychedelics or shamanism as a yogic path as well, which it was initially in ancient India. They used a substance called soma, which the recipe for was lost. But the yoga they developed was so powerful that if you completely dedicate your life to it, you don't even need psychedelics anymore. That's how powerful this spiritual science is, to reach these states without even needing an external substance anymore. No, I hope this video helps you guys. If you have any questions, put it in the comments below. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks. Peace.